What is going on, guys? Andrew Acevedo here, back with another video, and we are back with a little bit of AEW. Obviously, the lockout has really killed my drive to upload baseball content. Not just because, again, anything I upload, it's like, hey, it'd be cool if I do like a Mets, and there's still going to be maybe a collab coming pretty soon about relievers for the Mets, maybe top 10 relievers on the market that the Mets should acquire. Maybe that's down the road, but I'm just baseball-wise, it's kind of hard to make content, especially during this lockout. Hopefully, maybe we got a little bit of glimpse of hope. Obviously, we got the today. We talked about it on Mets Weekly. The DH is coming, confirmed. A draft lottery and draft bet compensation is going away, so that is really cool to see. So maybe we get finally moving in the next couple weeks. We can get the CBA done and get this lockout over with, and then we can get back to baseball content. And again, it'd be a lot of fun. Because to start at the beginning of this video, just kind of talking about what the future of the channel and what's coming. Thinking about starting up a MLB The Show franchise until opening day. We'll pick a team and then just kind of rebuild it, have a little fun, do kind of a community franchise stream. So maybe I'll come up with that in the next couple of weeks. Maybe next week or two, I can say. Maybe I'll get that off the ground. Maybe that could be something to do. So let's get into what we were going to talk about today. If you clicked on this video, I'm going to do these, I think, every couple of weeks because the lockout's been so boring, and this has been the only enjoyment I've gotten since the lockout's hit, and that's been AEW. And 2 nights ago on Dynamite, we got 2 major surprises, and I just want to talk about some of the stuff that's happened in the last couple of weeks in AEW. Maybe I'll do this like every 2 weeks, maybe do like an AEW recap, or just kind of talk about if nothing meaningful happens in the 2 weeks, then I'm out. But just talk about what the big storylines and some big moments that has happened on Dynamite, Rampage, and whenever obviously we're going towards Revolution in March, so about a month away from that. So now we're starting to see maybe what the card's going to look like. And let's start off with the 2 surprises. Tony Khan on Friday said on the Busted Open podcast that, hey, on Wednesday night we're going to have the Forbidden Door opened. I could find the exact tweet. It was he's going to open the door. He's got a signing. It's a free agent signing with the great show, and obviously it started with the match, Isaiah Cassidy versus this brand new opponent. He tweeted out, "The Forbidden Door is open to any wrestling promotion in the world, whether you work for AEW or not. We're open to work with anyone. The door can be slammed shut to their former company." Pretty much says that and that. So he mistweeted, and I think this is the best part, is Tony Khan forgot what the Forbidden Door meant when he says it all the time. Because obviously he said the big debut, Rampage on Dynamite, it's going to face Isaiah Cassidy in a Face of the Revolution ladder match. As he said, obviously the big free agency debut, and he will debut on the same night. Tweeted about 9 different times. I love Tony. He just tweets out a ton. And then we get to, the surprises was Keith Lee, formerly Bearcat Lee. Thank God, WWE. Thank God. How do you ruin Keith Lee? Keith Lee debuts in AEW, and right before he came out, the Forbidden Door was open for Switchblade Jay White. So TK botched his tweet, and then tweets out after the show, "I didn't secure Jay White until Sunday. I realized after the fact that Friday night I butchered my own definition of the Forbidden Door in hyping tonight. I heard the fans' feedback and wanted to ensure that tonight was special for all of you. Thank you for watching." So TK was just gonna be Keith Lee, but he botched his own tweet, and we end up getting the Switchblade Jay White as well, which again can be very intriguing. Where and why and who brought in the Switchblade, which we'll get to in a second. So we'll start with Keith Lee, one of my favorites, and he felt back to like he was in NXT. You see when he came out, the big smile he had on his face when he heard his new song is amazing. Go listen. They uploaded it on their YouTube channel, their AEW music channel. That song is a bop. But Keith came out and just first thing he does in AEW, launches Isaiah Cassidy across the ring. Like, usually he throws somebody, he goes maybe a couple feet. No, he launched him corner to corner with ease. Obviously, we got the Spirit Bomb. I don't know what the Big Bang Catastrophe Freeze is going to be called. Maybe, who knows? I didn't hear what commentary said because I was just watching and enjoying it, so I really wasn't picking up what they called it. Who knows? Obviously, he's probably going to rename it. But great win for Keith. Again, it's good to see Keith Lee, and he's going to be in the face of the Revolution ladder match at Revolution for their shot at the TNT title. So looks like in the TNT title picture got a little crowded as well, with Darby and Andrade wanting to challenge Sammy. So maybe at Revolution we have a triple threat: Andrade, Darby, and Sammy. That could be for that, and then obviously the winner of that match will get the ladder match, which obviously right now it's only been Keith Lee. Wardlow, I would expect. I remember MJF talked about it a couple weeks ago about Wardlow being in this match. So Wardlow and probably Keith Lee so far being, Keith Lee is the only confirmed announced participant, but I would expect Wardlow and some other guys, maybe TK, has a couple more surprises. Let's move on to Switchblade. Roppongi 3K is getting interviewed by Shivani, and then the Bucks come in. And obviously Cole from behind, low blow, starts beating up. I think BTE trigger. I think it's Beretta. And then Adam Cole says, "Look who it is." And in comes Switchblade. And the Bucks are confused. What is this switch? What is he even said? What is he doing here? But then if you see Adam Cole's face, smiling ear to ear, Switchblade comes in, gives Nick a compliment on his earring, walks off. Then we get later in the segment, later in the show, Adam Cole. They go back to it's the Bucks and Cole talking about, hyping up the match with Roppongi 3K. And Cole says, "Hey, I got something, you guys got, are focused on getting back to tag titles. I got something to go focus on," which we'll get to at the end of the show. But then Cole says, "Hey, Jay White, it's Bullet Club for life, man. It's the saying, Bullet Club for life." And then Shivani on commentary is like, and it's true that Cole's bringing in kind of all of Kenny's biggest rivals. And obviously, if you know, in New Japan, Kenny Omega tried to get Jay White to join Bullet Club at New Year's Dash, and he obviously turned on him. Put the Bullet Club shirt, swerved him, hit him with I think what do they call? I forgot what he calls his sister, his version of Sister Abigail. I think it was Death Rider, I think. And then he took the IWGP United States Championship off Kenny Omega. So the feud that obviously, again, kind of the fox in the hen house, where obviously later, a couple years later, and Jay White ends up being in the Bullet Club, but as the new leader with God and Tama Tonga, or Fale. God, Tama Tonga, Tongalo, and Fale is now the leader of the Bullet Club. But now Kenny and Cole's feud has been percolating a lot since Kenny's been hurt. Obviously, Kenny had the match with Hangman, dropped the title, and has had surgeries, and he's come recovering. Hopefully, obviously, get him back, get him well, because it's crazy to think he's been hurt and putting on classics when he's hurt. So when Kenny's back and healthy, who knows? This upcoming run that Kenny's going to get on is going to be something special. But they have every week, or every other week, I wouldn't say it's every week, but every 2 weeks, every other week, we get a little tease to that, and we keep reminding of Kenny, like, hey, and commentary's done a great job. Cole and commentary has done a great job of keeping this, like, little hints and nods. Obviously, there's a meme going around that, like, Adam Cole has all these factions. Like, obviously, he's with Britt, he's with the Elite, he's with the Undisputed Era guys. Now is he potentially bringing in the Bullet Club? Because at the end of the show, obviously, Lance Archer and Hangman had the Texas Death Match, which was amazing. Both guys obviously bleed. Shout out to Lance Archer. Doesn't get enough credit for how good he is. It's kind of like Moxley when you put him in a death match. Like, he's always going to come up with something innovative. Went through some glass. He did a beautiful blackout on the steps. That looked like it sucked. The top rope fell. The finish of the match was awesome. Where, like, the ref went to go pick up the barbed wire. They set up 2 tables outside. There's only 2 ropes. And then Hangman hits the buckshot off the referee. Buckshot's Lance through the 2 tables, and he wins, retains, obviously. And then Adam Cole comes out. Obviously, now, if you look at the rankings before the show, Lance was number 1, Cole was number 2, and Cole kind of hinted to that on Rampage this past week. And as most of us thought, it looks like at Revolution, we are going to get Adam Cole versus Hangman Page. But Cole was respectful. He picked the title up and put the title on his shoulder, and obviously tapped it and said, I'm next. But all this Bullet Club thing, obviously, Hangman, a former Bullet Club member, obviously, I don't think he will join Cole. But Cole is, like, in every little faction. He has all these little factions to maybe once the Kenny Omega gets back. Obviously, he has the built-in feud that's going to be, it's 5 years in the making. Obviously, when Adam Cole went to WWE, Kenny was the one who kicked him out of the Bullet Club, but it was the Marty and the Bucks were the big feud for him to go away. We never got the one-on-one Kenny Omega versus Adam Cole. So this has been brewing for 5 years, and obviously, on the first BT he's back, he was the one that wanted to bring him back, and it all out. Obviously, they were all buddy, but with those two never stood together, and it makes more sense to have Kenny and Cole feud. This could be something as good as the Hangman feud, which obviously the terms, the length in AEW is only going to be a couple of months, maybe a year. Who knows how long Kenny's going to be out? Hopefully he's back at Ayton towards April and May for Double or Nothing if this is where the first match happens. But the stuff that they've done, small little hints, even like the last time we saw Kenny, where Cole's like, when Kenny said take care and like hold the fort down, and Cole's like, I got it, and he was talking to the Bucks. So the friction, and then even bringing in Switchblade, and there's been little hints that Cole has done, and commentary's done a great job of even like trying to explain, like, hey, that's a shot at Kenny Omega. But this Cole feud is going to be just the Kenny, and I cannot wait for this Kenny and Cole feud because it's going to be next level. And imagine what a healthy Kenny Omega and Adam. We all know Adam Cole gets up for big matches. And I would imagine a healthy Kenny Omega, probably his first match back, big proper main event caliber match. Yeah, God knows what Kenny's going to have in the tank, and that match could be, a match of the year easily. Maybe breaking Meltzer's scare, who knows? But another thing, which will probably the last thing we'll talk about in this video, is the MJF and CM Punk feud, including Wardlow, which I'm not going to leave Wardlow out of this. Punk actually put over MJF twice in Chicago. Obviously, by nefarious means. Obviously, he choked him out with the tape for the first fall, and then obviously the Dynamite ring Wardlow gave him for the knockout punch. But just the match quality, and when they gave him 40 minutes, I remember sitting there, I'm like, damn, they're gonna give these guys 40 minutes, and then obviously they did the fake, the fake spot, the restartage of the match, and then like I was thinking, like, damn, there's still 20 minutes left, and obviously you knew they were gonna restart it. But then once that second fall, like Punk never hit the GTS. And that's, again, kind of like Kenny Omega never hitting the One-Winged Angel. I'm not saying the GTS and the One-Winged Angel are similar. But, the storyline, like, hey, he didn't hit the GTS. That could be, obviously puts everybody to sleep, but whatever. But the match was great. And obviously this past week on Dynamite, MJF came out in the most obnoxious way possible. It gets carried to the ring, makes out with one of the girls that came out with him. The shirt, I'm better than the best in the world, and you know it. And it was just, and all we see is Wardlow. In Hangman Page, I saw a video, I think it was Sonny the Jobber who did the great Hangman documentary, said, like, Hangman can tell a story with his eyes. Wardlow's getting to that point, because the facials that Wardlow is making in these promos, and it's just quietly seething in the background, waiting, because and Tony Khan knows, we're waiting for when he turns on MJF. We thought we'd get it 2 weeks, before the Punk match. We didn't get it, and it's just sitting in the background to say, hey, it's gonna happen. And when it does, wherever the play, it's gonna get a huge pop, because we're waiting for MJF to finally get his ass kicked. And so during the segment, Punk came out with Darby and Sting with baseball bats, and pretty much saying, hey, I want my rematch, and if you don't give it to me now, I'm going to go down there with these bats and beat the living, out of you. And FTR, Dawson, not Dash. Wow. Cash Wheeler. Wow, I called him the Revival. Great. Cash Wheeler's like, hey, I don't want to wear this stupid suit. We're the best damn tag team. And then MJF puts the stipulation. One, if you beat FTR, you can get a match from me anytime, any place. But also, Punk said he wanted the match with Wardlow. So there could be a way where AEW books them, trolls and say, hey, you said you wanted the match with Wardlow, so here's your match with Wardlow whenever, so MJF gets out of it, and again, continue the feud between those two. So we're sitting here, and I'm thinking, there's no way there's a third debut. And it was back-to-back segments. It was the Jay White segment, then Keith's match, and then this match. So, pretty much, you need a tag partner that's not Darby and Sting. So then there's kind of the anticipation, well, who's it going to be? Because, I'm trying to put in my head, I'm like, who is Punk going to team with? And there was nobody obvious. I was thinking, even some of the debuts, I'm like, the one that would have been awesome was Samoa Joe. That was a name, Joey, and as soon as he tweeted it out, which obviously he tweeted out like Dan on Twitter, he was like, hey, Dan, how's you available? Hey, Samoa Joe. That was the one I was like, dude, that would make the most sense, but why would he tweet it out if it's going to happen? So I was like, where is it going to go? And then we saw, obviously, carrying Killer Cross and Scarlett did an autograph signing saying, hey, we're going to be in Atlantic City this week, and Karrion looked at Scarlett like, shut up, and like, you know, obviously I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but like, he gave her a look, and like, they started dying. So there was a hint that maybe it was Karrion, so we're like, who is this going to be? And then it ends up being Jon Moxley, and that match was fun. Again, seeing Punk and Moxley team together was pretty cool. I think I saw on Twitter a tweet that like, they did a bunch of spots they did when they were in WWE, so... Kind of wish it was Bryan, because he said he wants to fight the Bucks with Bryan, so maybe that's a match down the line eventually. So I was like, we were kind of like, who's going to be the tag team partner? And it was with Mox. Obviously, it means a lot more now with Mox being sober. So kind of like the cool, you know, the couple now straight edge guys. So that was pretty cool, and obviously just a fun match. FTR, it was back to kind of those NXT classics where FTR is hitting the big rig, false finishes, working, you know, Tully getting involved. So it was a fun match. And now we're going to get a Punk hit Dax with the GTS for the win, meaning Punk will get his hands on MJF and or Wardlow again, because, again, it could be a swerve and say, hey, you get a match with Wardlow, you're not going to get a match with me. But commentary did put over, it's a match with MJF, which will probably most happen at Revolution. So Revolution looks good so far. Punk and MJF 2, Cole Hangman, the face of the Revolution ladder match, potentially for the TNT title, Sammy versus Darby versus Andrade, or one of the two versus Sammy. Maybe, I think just putting all three of them on the card wouldn't be a bad idea in a triple threat. Britt, it looks like we're setting up to Britt and Thunder, because Mercedes for next week, it's me, Mercedes, and Mercedes Martinez against Thunder Rosa in a no DQ match. So I think that's where that's leading for the women's title. Jade really doesn't have a feud for the TNT title. Tag team-wise, not really much either. Jurassic Express is going to defend the titles against the Gun Club on Rampage, so don't really have a challenger set for Jurassic Express for the tag titles, but they got plenty of tag teams. They can have a four-way tag, fatal four-way tag for a number one contenders match. There's plenty of great tag teams in AEW they can choose from. So, and then potentially Bryan and Mox. So the card at Rampage is shaping up pretty well. Obviously, we're about a month away. I think today we're recording this on the 11th, so I think it's March 8th. So a little less than a month away. Got 4 Dynamites left to see. So leave in the comment section down below. Do you guys like the idea of me doing kind of, I don't know, maybe every 2 weeks, every couple weeks, AEW review? Drop in the comment section down below. Be sure to check out the latest edition of Mix Weekly. Follow us on Twitter. Those are both linked. The channel for the YouTube channel linked, and the Twitter linked down below. Be sure to drop a like on that. Subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to all the guys. They are all linked. Mets Weekly members are linked down below in the description. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew Acevedo 34. That is also linked down in the description down below. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to drop a like, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.